Welcome in, beautiful souls. If you're new here, my name is Jane, and if you're returning, I'm so glad to have you back. I would like to thank all my subscribers for all your beautiful messages. I really love hearing all your stories, and I want to send a shout out to all the members that have joined the membership. I wanted to start a monthly video chat kind of thing, and I just didn't know if you guys could like reach out to me what you thought would be better, if it would be like the middle of the month or the end of the month, or if there was a specific day that you thought would be better, or if you wanted to do like just a small group reading or whatever you want, just let me know, and we'll just try to figure it out together, because it's all new to me. So I'm going to just begin the reading. So this reading here is about auras. And this is for all the chosen ones that, that carry these auras that nobody sees. So there's 9 specific auras that they wanted me to talk about today. So now our auras are very powerful, and they can shift rooms. They can expose darkness without a single word being spoken. Your presence can carry an invisible flame to others. And others can sense that flame. They can sense that light coming from you, right? There's others that feel that light coming from you. They take it as if it's like a threat to them, because your light will expose their lies, their manipulations, whatever hidden agenda that they have, and they don't want nobody to know about it, because the darkness likes to work under the radar, right? That's where that manipulation is so contaminating. So when you walk into a room and your true light shines out, the people that are wearing these like suits of deceit, you expose them, and they do not like it. So they instantly will, send hate at you, or they'll be like snotty to you, or they'll just avoid you like you have some kind of catching disease or something, right? So with, your, I guess you could say that your aura is divinely dangerous because, and of course you're very heavily protected too. So, their darkness doesn't have a chance when it comes to the light that you have, that comes from you, right? Because, you're authentic, you're unique, you have this courage, and you have this inner freedom that they don't have. Because when you live in your truth, and you live with the ability to stay authentic, that is a very, very dangerous thing for people that are the opposite, right? They like to always be in the shadows. They don't want to be exposed. They want to continue to manipulate and do the things that they want to do in the dark. So the 9 are, the first one is, you're like a walking lie detector. So you have the aura of discernment. So immediately when you walk into any room, you're going to figure out who is fake and who is real pretty much right away. As soon as they start speaking. I mean, you might even be able to feel their energy too. So that's possible. Now, the second one is authority. So your voice demands and commands attention. Now, that doesn't mean that you're loud. That means that when you speak, your words have weight to them. Now, the third one is you have an unshakable faith. So you have like this resilience about you, and it's probably because you've been through so much too, right? Because of your calmness, and because you have this unshakable faith, you might have people that like gossip or betray, or, try to create some kind of hardship for you. The fourth one is a hidden strength. So you're gentle, and you're quiet, and you're probably reserved, but people will mistake you for being weak. And the other thing is, they underestimate or mock you for being calm, because they think they can walk all over you, right? But really, that's not what it is. It's because you're stoic, because you've been through it all. You know what uh, is there. You know what I mean? Like, you've gone through the pain, you've been through the suffering, so you know. You're almost like a lion hidden in silence, because you could be like so quiet, but yet, and so reserved, but yet, I mean, if they like start poking at you, or you know what I mean, your lion or lioness is going to come out. So, you could be a kitten. You could be walking around, your little kitten, and, everybody thinks you're like so sweet and cuddly and loving and, generous and all that. But then they mess with you and all them claws come out, and the lioness emerges and can just, swat that enemy down with a word, with, a sentence, and in a calm, cool, collected. I mean, it's just the way you would word things would be enough to slap somebody into their seat. So the fifth one is you have divine protection. Now, this is like a spiritual shield. It's invisible to others. And for instance, like maybe you were in a car accident and you come out with just a little bruise or something, or you didn't have a scratch, or you lost your brakes on the highway, but yet for some reason you were able to, get the car pulled over and stopped and you were fine. And, so there's those kind of things that's the kind of divine protection. You also might have a lot of attacks, like demonic attacks or traps that people try to create for you. The other thing too is evil energy or darkness. They're never going to be able to like hurt you in that sense of way, because you have a divine purpose, and your angels and your guides and the universe is not going to allow negative energy to interfere with your life purpose. So you've probably been saved. I mean, you could have even had like near death experiences, or you could have had like, basically very close to death many times, you know what I mean? Or just once or twice. Like, these things happen to people that are chosen, because I don't know if it has to do with the learning of it all, or sometimes it's just to activate your gifts too, because when you cross over into the other realm, or you're on the brink, like if you're in like the void of not one or the other, it can trigger activations and allow, like, you become closer to your gifts and experience things in a different way. Okay, so 6 is truth. So, like, darkness cannot reside where truth lives. So when you step in a room and you let your truth, the real you is coming out, all your uniqueness and your authenticity, uh, negative energy will run away from that. They will avoid that. It can't exist in the room, because they know they'll be exposed. So that's where, again, you can get a lot of that hate coming towards you. And I mean, sometimes people will hate you for no reason. Like, you're just like, what did I ever do to them? I mean, I just met them last week. I don't know, why do they hate me so much? And that's why, because they're running in the darkness. They have some kind of covert thing that they're doing, and you live in the light. So they see your light, even though you might not notice their darkness, because, when you don't function in that way, your thoughts are not about darkness or manipulating or any of that kind of stuff. Your mind doesn't automatically go there. Theirs does, because that's who they are. But you're just trying to be real. Like, you're just trying to have a connection and have be inspirational, or you know what I mean. So isolation is the next one. So number 7 is isolation. So this is where you get separated from the crowd, and it's to protect you. This will often come out as a rejection, but again, rejection is protection. So, I mean, it's easy in the early stages when you're going through this rejection, to understand that, it's really to protect you from something way worse. And, it's really hard to deal with because, humans are like, kind of like, group type beings. Like, we're meant to have that social interactions and things like that. We're kind of like, well, a lot of animals that are on the planet, there's many of us that, dolphins live in pods, and chickens like living together, and horses need to be together, and pigs need to be together. You know what I mean? Like, they all have to have that social circle, I guess. So 8 is like funny spirit, intimidation. Thank you. Now, your presence is like far greater than those that you encounter, because I'll tell you, the darkness will recognize you immediately. Again, it's like, it's not that, it's almost like you have like this on your forehead. Like this light just stands out to them. They could pick you out of a crowd too. And that's the other thing too. Like, when somebody is like working in the darkness, and they know that they can easily like slip in if they use all the right, they master these skills too, right? These narcissistic type people, or manipulators, or whatever you happen to run into or have run into in the past, they're very covert. And like I said, like, you're just like, this loving being, and you just think that because you have that mindset, that everybody else around you would have that similar mindset, but unfortunately they do not. And with that, this kind of energy, like, they can spot you, right? And they know how to like love bomb you, and compliment you in a way that you don't get the ick from them. Like, they're very good at it until they get you like hooked in. Once you get hooked in and they're hooked into you, it's really hard to see them for the truth that they are. And that's a really hard lesson for a lot of us to go through. Now, but your aura is still always going to protect you, and something's always going to happen that it's going to create this huge, tower. Yeah, something's going to come in, yeah, because you're being blinded. Yeah, exactly. Because you were blinded and not seeing things for what they were. Your angels are eventually going to only put up with it for so long, and they're going to bring in some kind of tower moment that's going to create this catastrophic change. And it's going to topple. See, this looks like it's got a crown on the top. It will topple this person. And then it's almost, once that crown falls off, you're going to see them. Truly, truly see them. Yeah. And you will no longer be blinded. Yeah. That's where all your intuition's going to come out, and you're going to then have like all those epiphanies of how you've been manipulated, right? So 8 was intimidation. Yeah. Now 9 is your destiny. And destiny auras, this is where people sense you are moving towards greatness, and this will create like oppositions against you. So, see, when you start rising here, people are not going to like it. People are going to see that. They're going to know that, you're going to rise, you're going to end up in this abundance, and they don't like it, because this is all the stuff that you've been through. You have like the ships of light here. You've had all like your angels coming in. You've had galactic beings coming in. They're helping all this healing. They've been giving you all this guidance. Here they've been helping you resolve all these issues. You got number 11 here, number 11 here, so it's 1111. And then you have the indigo child, so you probably resonate with that, or like a rainbow child, or some kind of star seed, angel, chosen one. I mean, there's many names, but we're all pretty much the same. And then here, like, you have, like, they've been doing a lot of this inner child attunement. So once you embrace your inner child, and you take your inner child by the hand, and you heal all those little wounds that little one has, and you integrate that into your being, That's when your destiny kicks in, and people are going to sense that from you. And you know, they will create such opposition, and they'll use like their envy, and but they might actually admire you at the same time, but the envy can become so hateful, it can cause a lot of negative energy coming towards you. And you know, I'm thinking this might be an extension of the reading I just finished about having like black magic cast at you, negative energies coming at you. So, but this really, like all of these auras, these 9 auras that we carry, these auras, you know, this is why people will like notice you, and they'll either like support you or oppose you. You know, you get these like crazy polarities, and you're just like, what is going on? Like, why? You're like, why does this happen? But this is the reason why. And it reveals their character or intent to you. So this is what is so important about having this attunement with this inner child, and understanding that, you know, you could be like a star seed of some sort with this indigo child, and having all this resolution taking place. And this, you know, gives me, I think this is like a healing thing that they're talking about here. I see that there's a butterfly here, and then there's like one on her shoulder here. Oh, and there's a butterfly there too. Yeah, and there's dolphins over here as well. You know, dolphins are a lot about healing, right? Let's see here. I just want to pick this card up when I'm looking into this. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening right now for a lot of the people that are, you know, the empaths that are doing all this hard work that nobody sees. Like, nobody sees the work that you do, or what you go through, what you really truly struggle. I mean, your guides and your angels do. You know, God does, the universe does, the star seeds. Okay, sorry everyone. I don't know what happened. My video, my camera just shut off in the middle of doing this reading, and I didn't know that it wasn't recording until I disconnected my microphone. I realized it was a black screen. So, you know, this tells me that I've been getting a lot of negative attacks lately, and this is something that I do. I get these psychic attacks often. In fact, sometimes it comes in waves. Sometimes it's just, you know, little things. But I did a reading about how I received a lot of psychic attacks yesterday, and it's caused a little bit of a upset. And so I guess it's continued on into this reading. And this, I'm going to kind of go backwards and just, okay, so this card came out, and I will read that again. I'm going to set that there. I'm going to start like peeling the cards backwards. This deck here, ugh, I guess I should probably start, shoot, where to begin? Okay, so what Spirit is, what they were showing here is that they want to bring in, there's a lot of things going on here. You know, there's a lot of inner child attunement going on. There's a lot of, let me just pull these here. So, okay, let me try to do it this way, so that I want to try to keep them in order here. So then it came out like this, like this, like this. I'm just going to set these aside. Okay, this was flipped over. This came out with that one. That one popped out. These two popped out. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of pick up from where I left off. So I pulled out this deck here, and it came out with the womb and the vow. So this is where they were talking about, I was talking about how we've come here for a purpose. Like, this is our journey here. And they came out with these cards, which is basically like, before you even entered the womb, it's a vow that you made with the universe to be this, you know, coming in as a multidimensional being, and coming here to help raise the vibration of the earth, to help, alchemize this negativity with the people that you come across, with like all of that, right? And then it came out with, okay, put that back. And then it came out with the pilgrim. The pilgrim is basically like the journey. It's like following that journey of your soul to go through all the hardships, find all that internal, deal with all the pain and suffering that you've had to go through, like with the lineage that you were born into. And you come here to do this type of work, even though we're blinded when we come here because we're born as babies. We don't know that stuff, right? So then, well, we know as babies, but we don't know as we get older. Now and then the mother came out, which I thought was funny because it came right out on womb, and then the one, and then it was the siren. I was like, yeah, because this was the call. They put out, the source put out a call. The angels put out a call to all the multidimensional beings in the universe to see who wanted to come, who wanted to volunteer to come and be a part of this whole shifting of the universe. And then the card, the one, came out. And like on the bottom here, it actually had the tower, which was about all the change. And then in this deck, it came out with the shamanic healer and the magi. So this is about like they're cleansing like that inner child attunement, and they're to bring you into this, like to be the shamanic healer. Do you know what I mean? And then like this here is letting go, and I will read that. And before I read that, this flipped over. I flipped this over, which is attachment. I release all attachments. Change me, divine beloved, into one who trusts that the perfect relationship always arrives in time. Let me feel worthy and deserving of love. And I'm going to read that because this was important. Now, so I'm really grossed out because it was really a beautiful reading. But I'm still going to get the message out. I'm not going to allow this negative energy to interfere with our work here. So this card here, I'm going to keep checking the camera though. Let go of what you want most. And this is what I was talking about here, about letting go. And that's when I flipped this one over. It's like, and then because I saw the soulmate here, and I was talking about how when okay, no, I wasn't talking about that at that point. Okay. Let me just go back. Let me just read this and then I'll go back. So we want a lot. We desire a lot. We need a lot. Letting go is the magic word. So with the becoming the magician. See, and this is the thing too, like when you learn, and I was talking about how like the Seven of Pentacles, how like that's where the guy is like standing there with his staff, and he's just like watching the plant grow, and he's being patient. And I was saying how like when you plant a seed, you're not going to go out there and dig it up in 2 or 3 weeks and see if it's growing roots. You're just going to wait until it sprouts. And then, but what happens is you have to do all that inner work before you'll see it in the once the work is completed on the inside, then you'll see it appearing in the outside of you, your outer world. So once you do that work on the inner world, the outer world will then start showing and mirroring that what you truly want back to you. Okay. So we're reading this one. So we rarely think about what we truly need. Instead, we obsess about what we would like to have or what we would like to change, and can hardly let go of this notion. The angels are always ready to support us in our spiritual becoming, but it would be presumptuous to confront them with all our perceived wants and needs. It is time to refocus once more on thy will be done. If we do this, happiness may be closer than we think. So that's when, I was talking about like when you plant the seed and all that. And, because when you do all that internal work, especially where it came out with the inner child attunement, and then right out on top of it here is the cleansing attunement. And then these cards came out too. They slid off the deck onto the, they just literally on their own slid out. And I was like, oh, what are these? And I was talking about earlier about how, with all the auras that we have, and you have to kind of like, you have that solidarity kind of thing. You have to be like isolated, and how you do want to have community, but you got to find your community. You can't just have any community. You have to find the right people. So, oops. So this is the community that come out here, and then we have the vision. That's why I was saying, like, have your vision and put out what you want, but don't have any attachments to it. Release all the attachments to it. Like free it. You know what I mean? Just have that vision. Like, you have to visualize it and then let it be. Because, there's with the, this balance here with the two owls about having like your intuition and all of that. So like when you work on the inner stuff, then it starts appearing in your outer world. And then here's that seed card. And like I was saying, how like I thought it was funny that they brought out the seed card because I had been talking about the seed, right? So then in this deck, it came out with the Emperor here. And then it came out with the 3 of discs and the 4 of discs. Now, when I saw the Emperor card, and then I know over here they were talking about the mother and the womb. And in this deck, they showed us the Divine Feminine card. So what I was saying is that with the Emperor being out here, and about, with the men, how they've had like a bit of a raw deal, just like the women have, that men have been brought up from boys to be like, they have to be tough because they're men and they're not supposed to cry or have feelings, which is just really keeping them from their power. And for all the men out there that could be listening to this, like embracing that inner feminine side of yourself and being in touch and in tune with your emotions and being able to heal like your past traumas, that makes you very attractive to women. So just so that you know that, I mean, a lot of men probably don't or are not aware of that, because they're raised to have like, to be this tough shell, and, not to be vulnerable. And it really does them an injustice. Just like the women, like you're working in a corporate world, you tend to, wear this suit here that, to hide your intuition from, because you're, it's like a man's world that you're trying to, work in. And you can't allow that feminine side of you to be too prominent. But again, it takes you out of the balance. So, it's having that balance. So when, if you're looking for your soulmate or you're looking for your divine counterpart, you have to have that balance, and you have to have so much healing done so that you vibrate on the same levels, you know what I mean? So you have that frequency. Now the 3 of discs is all about learning and teaching, and it's also about the discs here are pentacles. So pentacles are about earthly things. So this is about like cooperation and community and like mastering a profession. They also kept pointing out the pyramids to me. So I was talking a little bit about the pyramids, saying how, I don't know, I couldn't remember what day it was, if it was June 6th, 7th, or 8th, one of those days where it was said that all 12 of the pyramids activated at the same time, simultaneously activated. Now, if that is the case, then these pyramids are actually energy centers. They also have healing chambers in them. So this could be what could be helping. And then, of course, the big solar flares are going on too. So all this happening all at once, and then all the planets are lining up the way they are. So, negative energy can also use this type of heightened energy to benefit them. So you might find that you've been getting a little bit more psychic attacks or something like that. Because I know I've had a few the past few days, and, just shutting off my video, which is really weird because, I mean, as you can see, like I was just talking about the cards, and then bloop, it's over. And then I did the incomplete thingy, and then there was nothing. I was just like, what's going on? Anyway, so that's, I have some cleansing I have to do here. So we have the 4 discs here. And, yeah, now my thingy went out, right? And my candle keeps blowing out too. So something is trying to prevent me from giving this information to you. So I don't know what is going on right now, but if you watch the video I did just before this, you'll probably understand a whole lot more, because it's been a doozy. Okay, so the Four of Discs, again, it's about earthly things. So this is about like your savings, stability, success, accepting your worth, being in the flow. And this is where it's talking, like it comes out on here, like the spirit, your relationship with spirit, and it probably missed out. Like I was showing how like all these third eyes are lighting up and the crowns are lighting up and all these cards. And then even this letting go card, we have this feminine here on this unicorn. And then in this card here, she's actually like on the unicorn, letting it go. You know what I mean? So this is the guidance that they want to bring in about, like obsessing over your thoughts. It's not going to bring in your abundance. It's not going to, you know what I mean? If anything, it'll probably prevent it because you're obsessing over it. Now, so I brought out another tarot deck to get just a little bit more of what's going on. Yeah, because I was saying how I think you probably feel like you're stuck because of the Two of Swords that came out in this deck. And the Two of Swords is about like, you're at crossroads or a stalemate, or you have to make a difficult choice, and it's all about your thoughts and, are you choosing the right route and the right path? But this is a soul's journey, so there's no right or wrong. You know what I mean? And then, of course, I was bringing out some cards. So then this one came out as clarifiers for the Emperor. So this is the Emperor standing in his business, and I was talking about that lion and the lioness earlier, and a few more of those cards did come out, but I did put them back because it was, whatever. It didn't get caught on camera. However, this is, standing in your power, not allowing these energies to manipulate you. And, you're like the last defense. We are the last defense. You know what I mean? We are here and this is our job, and we're just gonna, put up our boundaries and hold the energy, right? And then here, this came as a clarifier for the Three of Discs. So this is, again, Pentacles. And then this is the balance. This is, the giving and the receiving, right? This is you going to be finding your success, because you're accepting who you are and what you are, because you're going to be turning it, you're working towards being a shamanic healer and a magician, right? And because you're a multidimensional being, you were called, you volunteered to come as a multidimensional being. You heard that call and you wanted to make that vow to be born here into this family. And you're like this precious little pearl. Do you know what I mean? And I know this family that you have probably has never seen you as that. But, your guides, your angels, the source, the one, they see you as this precious pearl because you're here doing, and the pearl is only formed by all that pressure, you know what I mean? So then it came out underneath here is the balancing of these energies. You see the flow here, the ship's up and the ship's down, and that's the energies that we have to go through. Sometimes the yucky people and the heartbreak and all that. And then earlier I was talking about the Seven of Pentacles, and then what popped out was the Seven of Pentacles. You can't be digging up those seeds. You gotta plant the seed and then release it. And then it came out with the King of Cups, which the King of Cups, again, this is all about that emotional maturity. It's about, you got that, and I keep noticing how they're bringing out like the strong masculine, like standing up and, taking authority, sitting down, like, this Emperor sitting down, the King of Cups sitting down, you got the womb of the mother, and you have the mother here, and, it's just really a lot of balanced energy going on. It's really quite beautiful, in my opinion. And, with the King of Cups, he's all about like the healing and the love and leading with his heart, being a wise leader, being supportive, being patient and stable, and all those wonderful things. So, I do believe that once you're able to heal enough and your counterpart heals enough, then the two energies merging together, can you imagine how a powerhouse that you will be? Because, you're both going to be shamanic healers, you're both going to be magicians, you're both going to have the 9 auras, just like in this guardian. And I didn't even notice at first when I was talking about that, but like, look at all the different auras that you carry around you. And that's why you have such a hard time, because you were anointed before you were born. Before you even came into the womb, you were anointed. What's happening here? You know what I mean? And then I came out with the Queen of Pentacles, and the Queen of Pentacles, again, it's all about that nurturer. It's about the having the wealth, the success. She's also a healer. So you have the King of Cups. He's all about healing and the emotional intelligence and all that. The wise nurturer. And then you have, the Queen of Pentacles, also the same. There's a lot of abundance with her. And then here, this came out with the Six of Wands, which is all about rewards, success. We are going to be successful. There's no doubt. We are. Now, these energies, you could be having a lot of rough days going on right now, but let me just check, make sure that camera's still going. Okay, it is. I mean, it's not as enjoyable as as when I did the original reading, because, as I was talking, these cards just started kind of moving out on their own. It was kind of cool, but, they do that. So they try to interfere with the readings. I've been getting a lot of psychic attacks, so I'm just trying to work with what I got, and just whatever. I'll just do more clearing. I just thought I did a better job. But that negative energy, boy, I've got a lot of hate coming at me lately. Okay. But, when you're online too, like, where I do videos, I can get hate just from, people seeing my videos, and they're just, they just hate it. They, maybe I'm better than they are, or, well, they think I am, but that's not the case. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. Anybody can do what I'm doing. You just have to do your healing and, live in love and give love and want to help people and, have a spiritual relationship with the guides that come from love and light, Let's see here. So trust, here we go. And that was something else too. They kept bringing up the mountains. That's why I kept saying, like, why keep bringing up the mountains? And then they pointed out the pyramids and wanted me to talk about them. So that's going to increase the energy too. So there's a lot of energy going on. So disappointment often takes us to a state in life where the erosion of our faith in self, others, or source occurs. Hold on, Star. Uriel is gently reminding you to practice belief, faith, and trust, for they are the 3 concomitants of love. Just a minute, Star. Simply say a gentle prayer to Uriel, to the source, asking to develop the muscle of trust and to take away the fever of the untrust. Just like the soaring summits of wonderful trusting Everest, you will once more spring forward with joy in your step. You may always trust the angels, for they love for the sake of love. Chant Ha, H-A-H, through your heart chakra to simulate heart tinglings and resurgence of trusting fibers to fill your life. Okay, so that's all I have. And yeah, so I just want to thank everybody for being here. And thanks for doing all the hard work, because I know the work that you do, the energy that you alchemize, I know it's not seen by most people, but if you continue in your, whatever you feel drawn to do, whatever is in your heart's desire, that is your purpose. Whatever is in your heart's desire, that's where you're going to find your happiness. If you truly love to do something, that love is what's going to provide you with abundance. because that's really your purpose, right? Okay. So with that, I'm going to send you all my love and light, and I'm going to bid you a good day, and keep the fires burning, and keep the negative energy away, and do what you can. It's a battle out here. So bye, everybody.